I'm aware of toxic masculinity. Is there such a thing as toxic femininity? Not a lot of people actually know what toxic masculinity is. People in here are just listing toxic traits they associate with each gender, but that's not really what the term means in feminist theory. Toxic masculinity is a term describing the societal pressure on men to conform to toxic standards for masculinity. This includes things like the expectations to be strong, stoic, tall and dominant. Both men and women can enforce toxic masculinity. Toxic femininity would be the same, except the genders reversed. Societal pressure on women to conform to toxic standards for femininity. Like the expectation to be overly agreeable and non-confrontational, and never direct about it if you dislike someone or something.
This thread is full of people who don't understand what toxic masculinity even is.
Your one purpose is to bear children.
Yeah, you can check some mom groups. I feel like mother shaming in the parent groups is like toxic femininity 101.
Summed up by: if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best. Yes, r/female dating strategy.
It doesn't get talked about nearly as often, but I would say yes. Women tearing other women down, women collectively basing other women's worth on appearance and other superficial factors. You're not a real woman if you do/don't do X stuff like that.
Yes. I don't necessarily agree with what most people trying to give explanations are saying. They don't paint the picture thoroughly. Plus, I find a lot of people don't describe toxic masculinity as more than just aggression and violence. Toxic masculinity, in my opinion, is the vehement rejection of femininity and overcompensation to prove masculinity, usually due to what people label as masculine or feminine in presentation and gender roles. Causes aggression, sometimes violence. It's the reason men don't feel comfortable coming forward when they've been sexually assaulted or are victims of domestic violence. The idea that these things could never happen to men and therefore they're women or pussies, or something else misogynistic.
It naturally promotes homophobia toward specifically men with men. Having sex with men is an inherently female trait. It's a violation of manhood to ever do such a thing. Women like men. That's the way it should be. This can go back to men reporting sexual abuse and not feeling comfortable or safe enough to do it. Toxic masculinity, in my opinion, is rooted in misogyny, and it makes men victims of misogyny as well. While plenty of women reinforce this ideology, it seems as though a large number of men will only listen to men and develop their ideas of what a man should be from other men. I believe toxic femininity is the complete acceptance and embodiment of misogynistic ideas, particularly when an individual must make known that she's not a feminist. Is second it her man. And if you're not living like that, you're disgusting and don't behave like a woman. The specific misogynistic ideas I'm referring to are what men and therefore women have decided women should be. You can see this when women and men go online and say things like, you don't cook, clean, have sex whenever, kiss and scrub the feet for your man? That's what's wrong with women these days. They'll go on about what makes women undesirable, and it's almost always about things women have had to work hard for the right to do or not do. It's people who judge women for not wanting families or choosing to work. On the other hand, I do also think it can be the rejection of misogynistic ideas to the point where they must be everything but that. Women are taught that feminine things are bad at a young age, in the sense that you want to stand out from the others when seeking men's attention. This is the not like other girls, or pick-me girl, thing. When I was younger, I was completely anti the color pink, and I didn't want to be seen as too feminine, because I wanted to feel different, special, and come across as different to guys.
I've since gotten over it, and while that's only one anecdotal example, the same experience is all over the internet and readily accessible. This is all I can think of for now, and I believe I've only scratched the surface. Each idea might not be as fully developed as I think at this time, and they might be misinterpretations on my part. Just a disclaimer.
Of course there is. While toxic masculinity is overly aggressive and physical, toxic femininity is manipulative and emotional.
Instagram mommies.
Look at female dating strategy.
Anything taken too far can become toxic. That is why people who live balanced lives are happier.
Yes. Women being overly competitive with each other and being jealous of women they perceive as a threat due to looks or them receiving more male attention than them.
Yes. Just as toxic masculine ideals are getting called out and misogyny, which is what I assume you were referring to, is being less tolerated, there is also a need to hold misandry to the same standard. Example, making fun of a guy's body, baldness, height, dick size, is never okay. Now toxic femininity relates more to expecting women to act a certain role in society. X. Your existence revolves around being a mother. But also an example, you should never pay on a first date. So that's also something that exists. As a society we have biases and expectations that way too rooted in tradition and religion. And these are harmful to individual freedom, rights, and health. So anytime a woman is expected to act a certain way just because she is a woman, it is likely, not always, a trait of toxic femininity. I think toxic femininity exists. Like toxic masculinity, it stems from the worst pressures society places upon people due to their gender. Someone suffering from toxic femininity has probably taken the concept of a quiet, obedient woman to heart. She won't speak out for her own benefit and clings much too close to her probably toxically masculine husband. Toxic femininity and toxic masculinity hurt not only the individual but everyone. That's how the Macaman, boys don't cry, anti-feminist men propagate more of the same. The silently judgmental wife does the same. When she speaks, it is only to criticize her fellow women for not being feminine enough. Just as her society, usually her church primarily, has taught her. Have you read Our Female Dating Strategy? Man, go check out the Our Female Dating Strategy, just as toxic as all the incels subs. Oh yes, just glance over Our Female Dating Strategy.
Of course.
I would think toxic femininity would be women tearing each other down.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. TooAfraidToAsk is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.